So the next topic I want to talk about is counting with dependent choices. So this is going to be a little different. Once you choose something, it's chosen and you're not allowed to choose it again. So before we do that, there's going to be some notation that comes up a lot here. So I just want to get used to it, both what it means and how to do arithmetic with it. So if I write n with an exclamation mark after it, that means n factorial, which is shorthand for all the numbers from 1 all the way up to n multiplied together. And honestly, more it's written, or more often it's written descending rather than ascending. So you'll probably see it written like this more often. But of course, multiplication is commutative, so it doesn't matter which order you write it in. And just as an example, so if I want to write 7 factorial, that's 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which is, you can check if you like, but it's 5,040. And the thing with factorials, and you can try this out with the calculator if you like, but they grow really fast. So something like 12 factorial is pretty large. I don't know exactly what it is, but you can calculate it with your calculator. And something like 100 factorial is extremely large. So factorials grow really, really quickly. So that's something to note here. The next thing I want to note is how to deal with them algebraically. So you might get an expression, in fact you will see lots of expressions that are along the lines of simplify. Maybe something like this. Let's do 12 factorial over 7 factorial, 3 factorial. So a poor way to do this would be to multiply 12 factorial out, because that number is huge, and then divide it by 7 factorial times 3 factorial, which is still pretty big. That would be a crazy way of doing it. A better way is to cancel stuff out. So I'm going to do this longhand first, and then show you a little bit shorter of a way to do it. So I'm going to write this as 12 times 11 times 10 times 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So that's 12 factorial over 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. That's 7 factorial. And then 3 factorial is 3 times 2 times 1. So we have 12 factorial divided by 7 factorial times 3 factorial. And I didn't put them in, but you can imagine there's brackets around those guys. Well, the cool thing is, if you look at this, up top we have a 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. On the bottom we have a 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Of course we do. 12 factorial is all the numbers multiplied from 1 to 12. And 7 factorial is all the numbers multiplied from 1 to 7. So all the numbers in 7 factorial are also in 12 factorial. So we can cancel them out. So let's go ahead. 4, 3, 2, 1 cancels out with the 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we've canceled out quite a bit so far. And what's left is a 3 times 2 times 1. So we can just look, well, 1 dividing by 1 does nothing, but we can look for factors of 3 and 2 in this number. So I see a factor of 3 and 9, so I'll cancel that out. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. And then 2, I see a factor of 2 in say 8. I could take it out of the 10, but multiplying by 10 is very easy, so I want to leave that. So I'm going to take it out of the 8. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So this is 12 times, well, I'm going to do some regrouping here. 12 times 3 times 4 times 11 times 10. That's what I have left up top. And 3 times 4 is 12. 12 times 12 is 144 times 11 times 10. Multiplying by 10 is very easy, so I'll leave that to the end. And then just a little multiplication here. 144 plus 144. So this is 1584. So it's 1584 times 10, so we just add a 0. 15,840. So that's how to deal with factorials. Usually, when you're simplifying, I would probably write it like this, just to help me out here. So I would write it like 12 factorial over 7 factorial, 3 factorial. I would write it like this, 12 times 11 times 10 times 9 times 8. And then rather than writing times 7 times 6 times 5, etc., I'll just say times 7 factorial. And then down the bottom I have the 7 factorial times 3 factorial. So I can immediately cancel out this 7 factorial. It just makes things a little bit neater so you don't have to write down absolutely everything. And you can go from there. And then 3 factorial is 3 times 2 times 1. So you just cancel it out as we did up top. So hopefully that helps with the idea of simplifying factorials.